Hi everyone, I'm Sophia Haber-Brock. Today I have the absolute pleasure of speaking with the 76th FUSA President, Aliyah Seenauth. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. I am so excited to get to talk to you. You are beyond impressive and so inspiring with everything that you've done. I also want to mention that you're the first woman of color president too of FUSA, which is absolutely incredible. You're the 2024 Fairfield Awards dinner speaker, student speaker. You just have so many leadership positions here at Fairfield, and also with your public health major, you've done a lot with health and wellness outside of school with research and stuff like that. You have past work with Pfizer and various other health communities, and your experience really embodies your passion too, which I know we kind of talked about that when we were scheduling this podcast, that you really like people who are passionate and doing things that they're passionate about. So I definitely want to talk to you about that and your passion. So where did your passion come from for everything that you're doing, your involvement, health, leadership, like that?
I wasn't always very outspoken and like extroverted. Like I grew up very extremely shy. But I always wanted to help in some capacity. So whether that was behind the scenes or it did mean the face of it, like I always wanted to do that. I just never had the courage to be the face of it. So
when do you think you found that courage?
College. Like I think I did a lot of stuff in high school. Like I was in student government. I was very active the same way I am now in school. But I think I gained the confidence to do it and be the face of it and not be behind the scenes when I came to college. For representation reasons, as I always talk about. But yeah, I feel like I've always been a passionate person, like about something. Like I'm somebody that when I discover something I like I cannot let it go. Like I will talk about it for days. I will do something about it. Like I'm just always been very into things once I find that thing. So I feel like it's always been in me in some way, and it hasn't really changed throughout the years. I feel like I've always been very like gun-ho about certain things. It just looked different. So I always say one thing about me, I'm a very passionate person. I always say that.
Yeah, that's great. Is there something that you found recently that you're super passionate about that you like recently got into?
Oh, recently? I don't, so I'm not one that like falls in and out of like passions. Like I think I always think passions are like hobbies. Like, okay, you find something you really love and then you just stick to it. Like people like, I feel like when people start picking up like reading or like right now everyone's like crocheting and I'm like, yeah, you're passionate about that. Like do your thing if that's your thing. I think recently I've been really, all this like talk about everything going on in the country with birth control and things like that. Like I have been really, I'm in the learning process a lot. Like I feel like I'm doing reading a lot. I love to read about everything. And so I've been really just looking into it more and more just because of, again, between healthcare and like social justice and things like that I'm passionate about, it just really encompassed a lot. That was a lot of things that are important to me. So I've been really like looking into that. I mean, that's like the field of work I want to be in too. So really playing with that. It's an unfortunate thing. So I'm always looking into stuff like that.
Yeah, it's incredible that you found so many things you can get involved with that embody all your passions. Like,
I'm so thankful.
Yeah, it's so cool that you can find things that mesh the social justice, the health, leadership all at once. Which, that's awesome. That's for me too. It's like that's what I want to do too. Like find things with media. So
find a common ground. Yeah, I mean, I didn't always start as a public health major, so I was a biology major, and I came in as pre-med because again I always knew I wanted to do healthcare, so I immediately was like, oh, that means being a doctor. And then when I got here, of course, I've been always involved in social justice things since young. And when I got here, obviously, it ramped up a lot for me and my passion for that. And then leadership, of course, and like I discovered what public health was in college. And then I was like, okay, this is what I want to do in healthcare. Like when I said I wanted to work in healthcare, this is what it was because it combined everything I love. So definitely, you'll find that and you'll do that.
Yeah, definitely. Did your family kind of push you to want to become a doctor or something like that?
Yeah, like I think, and you'll hear this from like so many first-gen students. It's like your parents, if you have immigrant parents, it's very like, oh, you got to be a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer. And I was like, oh, like, okay, but they definitely did not like push me like, okay, this is your capacity. But again, with always wanting to work in healthcare and in medicine, it always felt like my only option was to be a doctor. Like I didn't know. I was uneducated about like my options, I guess. Especially when I was in high school, it was like, okay, if you want to go to medicine, obviously you're going to be a doctor. Like it just seemed like the natural thing to do. And then
you don't realize there's so
much more things you can do. There's literally pharmacy, there's insurance, there's like literally random things. Like you could even just work in administration within healthcare, but you don't think about those things. I never really thought about being a nurse though, but I was like, my mind of what I could do was limited, I guess. And I was like, okay, doctor it is. And then I was always like stronger in like science and math growing up. And my family as well. My dad's very, very intelligent in math, my mom as well. So it was kind of like, it felt very natural to do that. I think I had the familial support in it because they were like, duh, like we would love a doctor in our family. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the doctor's not off the table for me as I'm going to get my master's first. And then I'm looking into my doctorate after. So.
Oh, wow. Very impressive. That's so exciting. And can you talk a little bit more about your family dynamic?
Oh, yeah.
How do they feel about all your success so far at school?
I don't know. I have an older brother, and then my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, and then my mom and my dad. So we're all under one roof. And my parents, my brother studied film. So, I mean, he's extremely intelligent, and he went into media studies per se, and he's an editor and all these things. And I was like, oh my God, like he's so creative. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go be a doctor and like follow what like. Wow. What felt basic, but obviously not basic.
Yeah, two very different paths.
Yeah, and I definitely felt support from my parents in that capacity because I think it's always something that's heavily acknowledged when you have like one. Because I have a big family, so I have like over 20 cousins.
Really? Wow.
When you have someone going into medicine, into law, like you always get that like feeling like, oh my God, like everyone's amazed by me.
Yeah.
And I think when I came into college, I definitely felt that my parents learned to see me as a woman. Like I think that definitely changed when I went to college, and my relationship with them, I feel, had got closer when I started college. Me and my dad have a very strong relationship in talking about work, school, and things like that. My dad's very up to date on everything I do in school. Like I always talk to him about it. My mom is someone like, I talk to her every day. I text her good morning every day, and she is very hardworking, like very giving, always does things for people. If I am sick, she will volunteer to come here the night of to bring me food. Like love translates differently, you know. For my mom, it's being giving, and it's what do they call it? The 5 love languages.
Gifts of service.
Acts of service. My mom's very acts of service. Yeah. My dad is very physical touch and words of affirmations. I'm very close to my brother too. I mean, he was my best friend growing up, like best friend. So he was also very supportive, especially when I switched my major and stuff like that. It was very like unsure if it was the right thing for me to do. And my brother was really big in that process. So.
Oh, that's so great that you have a strong family dynamic, and you have
crazy.
And you have such a strong network here. It's like you're just surrounded by amazing people. That's awesome. Yeah. How do you feel about like your network here too? Like it seems like all the people around you are just such wonderful people too.
Yes, and I'm so blessed. I absolutely feel that way, and I was very intentional in my speech last night that I wanted to acknowledge everyone. It's hard. I can't acknowledge everyone. I would be there forever. But there was people that were there for me from day one I got here. That those were really the people I shouted out. And then honestly, I said at the end, like everyone who saw a light in me, because that has changed, and I have met new people every single year I've been here that have given me different things, different advice, different support. But it has all meant something so big to me, and I'm somebody that will always give people their flowers when it's due. So that thank you was really to like anyone who's crossed paths with me, who have supported me in some way, connected with me in some way. There's so many people, but there's people who have been there from day one when I was struggling here and like was not doing what I'm doing now or envision to do what I'm doing now. That really helped me stay here and really find like Fairfield to be home when I didn't. So.
Yeah, and that's incredible, the progress that you've made too. I know you talked about in your speech that you like you're saying that you struggled at first and it was a difficult adjustment, but yeah, that's amazing, your growth. Like you have such like an amazing story.
Yeah, I don't even know how it happened either. I always tell people like when they say things don't happen overnight, I was like, it kind of fell overnight. Really? it wasn't, but it felt that way because how fast 4 years go by. So.
Do you remember like, was there a moment when like, was it like your freshman year when you like something kind of clicked? Or?
I always say my click, I talk to Yolema about this all the time. My click was, and she saw it in me too, it was funny, sophomore year second semester. That was when I finally was like, okay, wait a minute, like I can be in here, because that was when it was the election period for when I was vice president.
Yeah.
And I was always looking for ways to get involved. Like I always like knew that was my thing, because again in high school I had that background, and I knew that getting involved was what was gonna break me out of what I was going through and what I was doing. And again, being a passionate person, I could not be limited to just school. Like I could not just be in my books. Like I needed to do something.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know what clicked in me, but when I was running for vice president with Jordan Gale, he came to me about it, and like since then I think I just had like a fire that was like, okay, this is what I need to do to get to the next thing and like get by, kind of. And when I ran, I mean I was like, oh my god, I was a sophomore, so I was like, what is happening? And it was a toughie, but at the same time was when we had the Black Lives Matter like advocacy moment on campus in February 2022, and that really fueled me, because that really connected and resonated with my whole life, like what I stand for, who I am as a person, and it made me realize what I was meant to do at Fairfield, and that it was to advocate for people. So that was really that period of time. It was like all happening in February. Yeah, wow. That was when I was like, no, like I have to be here for X, Y, and Z. And I was also, that was my first year as an NSL. And as a new student leader, I was the NSL for really underrepresented students. So I did like the academic immersion program students, and then eventually the company scholars. And those two programs, to be able to mentor students who were just like me, and I didn't have a me in my first year, it meant a lot to me to serve them the best I could and go the extra mile for them and have them call up my phone at 2 a.m. if they needed me, and I would do whatever for them. Until this day, anyone who has been my student knows I will still do anything for them. And that really was like really awakening for me. I was like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do here. And that's why I tell anybody, if you're having a hard time at Fairfield, find your purpose, because that'll be your epiphany. Like that'll be your moment.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool. It was like really that little amount of time was so transformative.
Yeah, a lot was happening at once.
Yeah, that's crazy. And can you talk about some of the, like you've done so much with FUSA too. It's just like so incredible. Can you talk about some of the initiatives that you're most proud of that you've done?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell about one that's we're doing right now. So this is my second year doing it. So last year as vice president, I did it in April. It's called a Celebration of Unity series, where there's an event pretty much once a week in April. Some weeks have two. Where there is a DEI, social justice related event that's meant to celebrate culture and diversity versus making it such a daunting topic. And it's meant to encourage everyone to join, students who have faced something in celebrating Fairfield's history, anything that might be. So that's a really meaningful one for me, that I'm really like trying to train others younger than me how to run these events and run these programs and talks and whatever it might be, because I would love to see that continue on FUSA going forward. I think to have something student-led like that is very meaningful. So that's a big one for me. Recently, we got free menstrual products on campus. That was really that was very,
that's amazing.
It was amazing for me. Like I still am like, oh my God, how did this happen? This month we're doing free STI testing that I worked on with the health center. So that was a big thing for me, because to have free testing for a month, that's a public health thing. So I'm really passionate about that work. What else? I started the first Women's History Month celebration when I was the associate director of DEI on FUSA in my sophomore year. So that was when I was so thrilled about. But yeah, all of the things, all my favorite initiatives, I've done a lot of my favorite initiatives on campus have been surrounded by things I'm passionate about. So that's why I'm all about that.
That was so full circle. What a full circle answer.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy that you're going to have to pass the torch down.
I know, it
and
sucks.
I feel like Fairfield's going to miss you so much, because
I'm gonna miss it
you made such an impact too, which, are you proud of yourself? Like, how do you feel about the impact that you made?
Yeah. It was funny, like, because I rarely say that I'm like proud of myself, just because I didn't grow up that way. It wasn't like, I did hear it a lot from people, not because it's looked down upon or like people weren't proud of me, but culturally, like, I mean, I don't share this often, but culturally, and I'm Guyanese and my family's Caribbean, and it was not told often that like, oh, we don't really say I love you, I miss you, I'm proud of you. Like, we don't really say, you don't hear those things from your parents, you don't really hear it from your family, because love is shown, how I just talked about how love is shown in different ways. And so I never grew up hearing it, and I didn't tell myself that because I didn't grow up hearing it. And it it was actually recently when I got into grad school. I got like my last acceptance into like one more school, so I got accepted to all the programs. And thank you.
Congrats.
And I didn't think I was, and that was the moment I was like, whoa, I'm proud of myself. Like I like whispered this to myself, because that was like a childhood dream of mine, like to get into the schools I got into, and to say I got in. I have to pick one, I'm not going all, but to say I got into schools that I dreamt of as a child to get into, that resonated with me. I didn't see what I'm doing now to be something I was going to do when I was 13. I didn't know I was going to be doing these things. Yeah. So it's hard for me to be like, oh my God, this is crazy, because everyone else around me is like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, very rare to like soak it in. And like that was that moment I really was like, okay, I'm proud of myself, kind of. and then when like last night I walked off the stage, and a very close administrator that works here like came and hugged me and was like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, oh, I'm proud of me too. And I said it so naturally, like I didn't even realize that I said it. I was like, why did I say that? But like in the moment, it just like, I don't know why it came over me. But
yeah, like as you should.
It was so strange. And so I struggle like being like, oh, I'm proud of myself. Yeah. But I've been feeling it a little more lately. So.
Oh, that's so great. That's so, it's such like so monumental for your like self-growth too, that like you're finally accepting that. And like, it's kind of funny because like you're saying, you've been hearing it so much, like, oh, I'm so proud of you. And you're like, yeah. But it's like, you don't really notice it yourself. And then you're finally like, wow.
Yeah. And it means a lot to me when people give me credit for things, because I will always like, again, I love giving people their flowers. I love telling people I'm proud of them, that I love them. I love applauding people who've done things I haven't done. Like I'm so big on that. So to finally be able to do it to myself is strange, but it's an important thing to come across. So I'm glad I'm finally doing that at this age.
Do you think you're a tough critic on yourself?
Yes.
It seems like it.
And it's just not, I think it just naturally been that way. Like I always need to do the next thing.
Yeah. I totally relate to you. Like I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, like I love thinking out the box and doing the next big thing. And I was like, what can I do next? And it's not because I always say this, I never want it to seem like I want an applause, that I want people to be like, oh my God, look what you did. Never. That's why everything I've done is always through my passion, because it's just something I genuinely enjoy doing. Yeah. And that was my whole thing with FUSA, and why it's hard for me to be like, oh my God, I'm leaving. Like, it's very bittersweet for me, because FUSA has been a lot, but I am so passionate about it that it doesn't feel like a thing. It does not stress me out because of how much I love it. And that's why I always encourage people to do what you love, because it won't feel like a thing. Is when they say like, do a job you love, it like you get up for work every morning, you know. And it's again bittersweet, but I'm so big on that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's amazing. It's so cool to hear you talk about it too. It's like like you're incredibly humble too, which I feel like you're the best type of leader. That's like the best type of leader, you know, and the best type of person to make such a huge impact is someone who's humble and like really wants to do a good job, and it's not about like all the applause and stuff.
It's never about accolades, never about an award. It really comes from within, and to like make a difference and serve other people at the end of the day. That's the bottom line.
Definitely. And how do you balance everything with everything that you're involved with, and school and your social life? Like, how do you balance that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I have been trying to be more intentional about how I do that. And it's tough some days. Some days are busier than others, and it's hard to find a second to eat something. But I've definitely made the attempt. I try. So I know, for example, like on days I have class, I'm going to focus on class, and I'll worry about the rest of it afterwards. I find that there's moments I'll like slip and be like, oh my God, I have to answer all these emails like while I'm in class. And I'm like, no, I can't like be in class, because student first. And I've said that to myself from the very jump. Like, I will do all of these things, and I feel like there was probably some worry from like my family, maybe that, oh, like you need to focus, you're there for school, like focus on school. And at the end of the day, I've never let that go. Like that's always been a big deal to me. School has always been important to me. And I love higher education, which is why I'm getting my master's for my doctorate. I don't care how long I have to be in school. I love school.
Yeah. That's great.
And that's why I'm so like, the balance is hard, but I know I'm a student. I came to Fairfield as a student. I didn't come here as FUSA president. So I try my best definitely to focus on school. go to class, get my FUSA stuff done all night if I have to. I'll stay in the FUSA office till however time I need to get my stuff done.
Is that like your favorite place to work?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Like anywhere at the lower level, I go into like student diversity, like SDMA often. When I need like to see people, like I'm like, okay, I'm in I always call my back office in FUSA my shoebox. Like there's no windows and it's like, it looks like a closet, but I love it. I have all my pictures. It's really cozy.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I love it. But I'll do work, I'll go back home, and I'll do homework. Like, I designate time. I don't let my homework overlap with FUSA stuff or extracurricular stuff. I always try to find that time. I'm really big on, like, blocking time in my calendar. Like, this is the time you're going to eat, and this is the time you're going to do this.
So you
like,
block everything, like eating, gym, like whatever?
Yeah, I have to, because I don't think I could function if I didn't
What do you use, like Google Calendar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Color coded and everything.
Yeah, I want to see it.
I'll show you.
I want to compare calendars.
You're gonna be a little frightened because everyone who sees it is like,
really?
Oh my god! Someone told me the other day, is that Text and I was like, it's my Google Calendar.
Oh my god,
my GCal.
yeah, GCal. Because I started to do Google Calendar too, and it's
Life
like
changing.
I really want to be better at blocking my time, like scheduling eating and stuff. Like,
yes,
I've gotten a little better at it, but I would love to get some tips.
No,
for you,
totally.
I
I have my Google Calendar, like to put what I'm doing like every hour of the day. Yeah. And then my planner is like this thick. And in my planner, I write like my to-do list for the day. Yeah. So there's a lot going on. But,
but anything that works for you, you know?
And that's what's working for
me. Do you
me.
think you're on top of everything? Like you're good at it?
Yeah, it didn't come naturally. Like you have to learn. Like you have to learn how to be organized in that way. But I'm extremely type A. So, and anyone who knows me will be like, oh God. Like you don't want to see me sometimes on the day of an event because I'm very like this way. Like I'm very like I need everything to be a certain way. Yeah. And I'm not a control freak or anything. I'm a bit of a perfectionist maybe. Yeah. But I'm very like, okay, everything needs to be done a certain way. So when it comes to organizing my own life, it's the same thing. I also like my room, very intentional about keeping it clean and like not having things everywhere, and like these little things like make a difference in my whole day.
Totally. And like with how you dress too, like it's so like you're able to do everything, which I'm so impressed by. Like you're just like you're good at everything basically.
Oh, thank you.
Which is so impressive. Like
I wish.
Very inspiring.
That's so meaningful to me.
Yeah, because I mean I know you're saying like, oh, you're a little bit of a perfectionist, but it's like that's the best way to live, you know, like because you're doing good things, you're doing them well, and like if you have your mindset to something, you're gonna get it.
So, yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I definitely need to pick up some tricks from you. We gotta talk.
Don't worry, it took some time to learn, so I can tell you.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, so I was talking to Adrienne Johnson, who was one of the co-chairs last night, and she was like talking about your nails, and she was like, I wonder how she functions. Like, okay,
everyone asks me,
how long have you had your nails, and how like have you always been good at functioning with them?
Yeah, I have had long nails since I was probably 15. Really? And I'm 21 now, so it's been some time. Various lengths, various shapes. This is actually shorter than usual. But I've had my nails probably up to 3 inches. And because I've had them for so long, I find like, and I always have them. So like I think I've only taken them off once and had like 2 days without them, and then.
Really? Do you even remember what your hands look like without them? Like
when I get them done, like, and they have to cut it off, I'm like, I hate it. Like, I'm like, I hate it. And I get asked about my nails, like I actually love that you asked me this, but I get asked about my nails every day by somebody. Really? I haven't stopped like when people walk past me and be like, oh my God, your nails. My nails.
It makes you iconic, though.
Thank you. And my nails to me, they're such a big part of me. Yeah. I used to dye my hair and stuff too, so that was like another thing. But like, I'm from Queens, and like getting your nails done, all the girls have their nails done, and like it's so normal. And it wasn't until I came here, everyone's like, oh my God, your nails. And I think it's like such an important thing to highlight, like the cultural aspect of that. Like growing up in New York City, having long nails, having long eyelashes, I wear hoop earrings every single day. Like it's so normal that people started asking me. I was like, obviously, like people were like, can you eat? And I'm like, yeah, I can eat. It's silly sometimes, but I think it's so cute. Like I love when people ask me about it because it's so pure and it's coming from the best intention. People usually love them. People are like, oh my God, I love them. I also was always big on like having my long nails at this period of my life when identity is so important, and embracing your identity is important, and it's a part of growing into yourself, and I never wanted to get rid of them, and I know eventually one day I will, like when I'm in my professional setting, I will. But it was important for me to keep during college and keep maintaining them because it's a part of who I am. And eventually I won't be able to do it again if I have a job that doesn't allow me to have them. So I'm going to live it up now. Like, I'm going to do it now and I'm going to enjoy it now. But I love my nails. I again, had them for years. Yeah. And such so important to me. Everyone points them out. So no one's ever asked me that, but I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool that it's like part of your culture too. Yes. And it's funny, like, it's like such a stark difference between like home. You would never. No one would blink twice, you know? Or like, it's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she was, it's funny that, because I was just talking to her before she went up on stage. She was like, oh yeah, like, she was just talking about it. So I know. I love that. Yeah.
Do you think, is there anything that's like difficult? Like, is there one thing that's like most
absolutely.
difficult?
I could do most things. Anytime someone asks me, oh my God, can you do that? I'm like, yeah, I'm living, so I can do things. I do have a hard time opening soda cans sometimes. Yeah.
But you just give it to someone else, right?
Or give it to somebody else, or I take like a fork or like a spoon and like prop it open. That's if something falls on like a card, like a credit card or like our stack card, like if that falls on the floor, I'll have like some trouble picking it up. Like putting cards in like ATMs or like anything you have to like insert something into. Yeah, that's not great. But those are I think the only sometimes buttonings if they're too long, like this length I can button, but certain like when I've had them really really long, I have a hard time like buttoning my pants. Like yesterday one of my roommates buttoned my blazer.
Really?
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, I figured since you have it for so long, I figured you have made your way around everything.
Yes, you learn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, what is your so you're gonna graduate, you're gonna go. So where do you think you're going to go for your master's? Fairfield? Or?
I'm still deciding. I have till April 15th, which is tomorrow, basically.
Oh, my God.
It's very soon. I got into some great places. I didn't think I was going to get in, so I did apply to a lot of schools. I applied to about 10 because I was like, I'm not going to get into grad school, especially because the program I'm going into, there's a lot of students that don't. In the schools I applied to, you'll hear there's a lot of students who are not going straight after undergrad. So I'm definitely younger, I feel like, in the applicant pool. And so I'm stuck right now between a couple here, Fairfield. I mean, Fairfield's gonna be my heart forever. Like, I'm always gonna, like, oh my God, like, how can I not want to stay at Fairfield? Like, that was a hard bone to pick myself because all summer, all fall semester, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay at Fairfield. Like, the Fairfield was my first acceptance. Yeah. I was like, why would I not want to stay here? Yeah. Columbia, Yale, NYU are my other big ones right now. Wow. And it again, honored to get into these schools.
That's a tough decision. It's like
something I've desired for a long time. Yeah.
That's such a tough decision. Like you stick with your home and like
or
something you've grown.
That's what I've battled. It's like do I stay somewhere where I'm comfortable and I have my support and I know people and I feel safe and whatever it might be, or do I take, I said in my speech, like, do I take what I learned from here and apply it somewhere else? And I mean, I'm always going to be at Fairfield. Like I always said, I'm going to be an involved alum. Like I am going to be at everything I can be at, and I don't live far, home is not far from me. So it's, I know Fairfield will never go away. But it definitely is a toughie. It's because I really built something here, and I've been saying, again, I feel like that epiphany for me happened in sophomore year. So I feel like I really learned to enjoy my junior and senior year. And then now I have to just leave. Like it feels a little soon, especially because my first year was COVID. So it's kind of like, oh my God, like, do I want 2 more years here? Or do I, again, branch out and take my talents and skills I've learned that I'm so grateful to have had through Fairfield and apply it in another good school? Yeah.
Well, good luck making your decision. I hope it comes easily to you.
I know it's coming soon.
Yeah, you're right. You'll make the right decision for yourself.
Yeah, and people will know, and I know either I will get the support no matter what.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I really appreciate it. This is so nice to learn more about you.
God, I have a blast. This is the best part of my day.
Stop. So nice. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay. That should be good.
Amazing.
Well, you did so well.
Thank you. That was so fun. You asked me questions. People ask me questions, but you asked me ones that no one's asked me before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad.